Hi there, my name's Shane Sterling. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm out at a park right now. This is Regal Park in Sebastopol, California. It's a beautiful park with lots of oak trees. That's the native flora here in Sebastopol. We got these beautiful old oaks. So I came out here to have a little chat. I wanted to talk about getting off animal products. And, you know, that's my passion, veganism, raw food, personal transformation, taking responsibility for what we need to do in our society. I love talking about those things, love talking about it. So if you like talking about it too and you're interested in those types of topics, you should subscribe to my channel. I'm on the raw food journey because I have spent a lifetime researching health and being interested in how to get the most out of being alive, and all roads lead to raw food eventually. Veganism is a necessary start for humanity, though. We are hooked on the meat and dairy. We're hooked on the animal products. I don't see any way humanity is going to be able to get on with what we need to do and be hooked on the animal products, because the animal products keep us limited. They keep us limited in our consciousness, in our thinking, and in our health. You know, if you just think about the logistics of it, we are exploiting another species. We are building our life off the back of another. And, you know, a lot of people's argument is that, well, that's the food chain, the natural food chain. All life sustains life. And yes, although that is true, we have figured out how to massively exploit animals. And that's what we're doing with 250 billion animals slaughtered a year for meat. And, you know, that's not right. It's not the right thing to do. And we're going to pay the consequences because of it. Let's get this nice other angle. Look at this. So we pay the consequence, you know, we pay the consequence. I got my hat on. Maybe I'll take that off just to be a little more present for the camera. This is just me. Here I am. So what are the consequences of, you know, exploiting other animals for food? It's got to be in our consciousness, how we think and how we feel, the collective conscience on planet Earth, because all sentient beings are related by DNA. Literally, we are eating our relatives when we eat cows and pigs and chickens, because we have 95% DNA the same thing. And we are all born and die from the same wellspring of divine creative life force. So if humans evolved to eat animals out of survival in past times, okay, let's check it. We're not in survival anymore. We have grocery stores on every corner across America. We don't need to eat animals. So why are we eating animals? You know, there's no way to humanely kill an animal, even though we like to say that in our marketing and on the packaging of meat, you know, that it's humanely killed or that it's organic or that it's grass-fed. It's a bunch of baloney. It's, you know, exploitation. It's exploited animals. And how are we supposed to thrive when we're exploiting others? You know, we can't. We have to look for win-win situations. A sign of real intelligence is looking for a win-win situation for all involved. And us exploiting cows for beef and cows for dairy is not a win-win, because that's not a win-win for the cows. So right there, that exposes that there's a problem. You know, I think we need to take responsibility for this. And so I'm saying everyone's got to get off the animal products. You know, that's been my mission since I was 17 years old, to get off the animal products. I'm 45 years old now. That's been my life journey, my life path, my life purpose, to explore what happens when you get off the animal products, what opens up in your consciousness. And now I'm on the raw food and having a revelation. Again, at 45, I'm having a spiritual experience, a spiritual awakening on the raw foods, which is why I'm here on this video, to share my experience and to share how important I believe it is. And, you know, who else is going to do it? I got to stand up, because I'm the one having these thoughts, you know, because I'm the one having these thoughts. I'm the one who's responsible for speaking about it. So here I am taking responsibility in my life. I've cut out animal products in my life for a lot of years, and especially now on raw vegan. I don't do any cooked foods, don't do any grains, don't do any sugars, don't do any carbohydrates except raw fruits. I don't do caffeine. I don't do alcohol. I don't do any oils, no cooked oils, no raw oils. I only use whole foods, nuts and seeds for my oils. So I'm on a pretty straight and narrow path, and I'll tell you, it feels freaking amazing. You know, people say, oh, well, it's a restricted diet. I don't want to eat a restricted diet. But you know what? Rules create freedom. Rules create expansion. When we limit ourselves, we often get more creative and we get better results. It's the nature of reality. You know, give yourself some parameters to work within and you can thrive. Give it a free-for-all, like our current state of affairs on planet Earth, the current state of society, and it's a mess. We don't know what to do. We don't know who we are. We don't know how to behave. We hurt each other. We hurt others. We exploit. We plunder. We pillage, and we don't take any responsibility. Humanity's in kind of a bad way in that way, because even though we're all good, even though every single one of us has good in our hearts and we all desire good for others on some level, obviously there's bad people, but in general humanity is good. We have just forgotten. We have fallen asleep. We are deeply asleep in the darkness right now. This is a dark time in human history, and we will wake up one day and see how the exploitation and eating of animals just hurt ourselves, because we are all related. It's a cannibalism. Cannibalism of ourselves is hurting ourselves. So one day we will wake up to that fact. It's inevitable. I know it in my bones. I know it in my DNA, in my genetic code. I feel it. It's part of the mission I came here to do on planet Earth, is to be part of that, which is why as soon as I was old enough to make my own decisions about food, I went vegan, because I knew that I was not supposed to be eating the animals. And I felt that way my whole life. I did go back to eating animals for some time in my life, you know, as I hit some rough patches and depression and chaos in my life, you know, reverting back to animal products because I didn't have the bandwidth. But ultimately, that didn't last long, because I know in my knowing, I know in my deep gut that we are not supposed to be eating animals in the way that we are. Now, like I said, if we need to eat animals for survival, like if I was going to be stuck in the Arctic and I had to like kill a seal and eat it to survive, would I? Well, I don't know. I'm not faced with that situation. If I was faced with that situation, I would be there. My higher self would be present in that moment, and I would make the decision to do that in the present moment. But there's certainly no need for me to eat animals today with all the fruits and vegetables abundant on every corner throughout America. So I'm high on the fruits and vegetables. I'm high on the biophotons and the electrons that are in the raw fruits and vegetables, because the sunlight has information in it. The sunlight tells the plants what to do. We eat the plants and the plants tell us what to do. There's coded information seeded in the sunlight energy, and it's in the plants. So it tells our DNA how to reproduce. It tells our DNA who to be. That's another thing. We've missed the point. Who cares if animal products are unhealthy or if meat causes cancer? It's actually a moot point. It's irrelevant. What I think matters is that if we don't have the sunlight energy in our bodies in enough quantity, we have fallen asleep. We have forgotten who we are. So eating cooked foods is just as bad as eating animal products in that way, because there's no sunlight energy in it. There's no electrons in it to encode the living light information that shares with us who we are and the entirety of the universe. All life that's come before, all life that has ever been is encoded in that. You know, energy can't be created nor destroyed. It all is recycled. So that energy, that sunlight energy, is being recycled through us. And if we're not taking in the living sunlight energy, the electrons through the living raw plants, then we are slumbering. It brings our biophoton levels down. And I can speak on this because I'm experiencing it. I'm experiencing it eating raw foods, eating raw fruits and vegetables, eating the highest nutrient dense foods that I can get my hands on, the dark leafy green vegetables, the sea vegetables, high minerals. I supplement with minerals. I make my own compost. The bacterias, the microbiome. You know that 95% of the DNA inside of a human body isn't even human DNA. it is bacterial DNA. It's non-human bacterial, fungal, mold DNA. That means that we are just a host for these bacteria that are billions of years old. They actually probably are more us than we are. We're just a host that grows up around these bacteria. So my bacteria in my gut on raw fruits and vegetables is telling me who I am. It's giving me my thoughts all the time. The gut is called the second brain because it is a living organism. It is an alive entity separate from our own brain. It does create our thoughts. It does create cravings for food. It has a mind of its own. And if we're not feeding the right foods to that gut microbiome, we're going to get the wrong results. The results are the results of eating animal products is that life. Look at humanity. We're in struggle. We're in poverty consciousness. We're in violence. We're living under an invisible ideology of violence. We don't even see it. We're violent to ourselves by the way we eat. We're violent to others, and we exploit. We exploit planet Earth. We exploit all the plants and animals. It's a violence against ourselves, and it's invisible to us. We don't see it. As long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields on this planet because it's one and the same. If we enslave the cows for food, that means we don't believe in abundance. That means we believe in poverty. The slavery of cows is equal to our own poverty of consciousness. So dairy is poverty. Meat is poverty. That's why we experience poverty. That's why we have poverty. It's a lack consciousness. And we can't have abundance on this planet for all living beings. We can't have the win-win where every human being, let alone the animals, but every human being having an abundant life. We can't have that as long as we eat meat and dairy and eggs, and as long as we exploit, and as long as we live in poverty consciousness, and as long as we live in scarcity, lack, and the way we see that being expressed around us in our world is obviously apparent in the meat, dairy, and egg industry and the way we consume it unconsciously in our first world nations. Not all nations around the world do consume meat, dairy, and eggs. All the healthiest indigenous cultures around the world are basically almost 100% vegan. The cultures that live the longest on this planet are all vegan. The cultures that have the most disease are the cultures that eat the most animal products. Australia, the UK, and the United States have the highest rates of disease and the highest consumption of animal products. The remote regions of like Africa and, the Russian continent where it's dark, those pictures of planet Earth at night where you can see the lit up like metropolises. Look at the dark areas. Those are the places that are vegan. It's most of the planet. All the places without electricity eat plant-based diets. And they're not contributing to the global problems. They're not contributing to population, the population degrading the environment. They're not contributing to the exploitation. They're not contributing to everything I'm describing. So if we're in a first world nation and we're watching this video right now and we have our faculties and we are a capable, intelligent, thinking human being, we need to take responsibility. Getting off the meat, dairy, and eggs is taking responsibility for our consciousness, not just our health. That's a great byproduct, but taking responsibility for what it means to be in lack and be in poverty and be in scarcity, contributing to war-minded consciousness, violence consciousness, the battlefields. Meat and dairy are the battlefields. It's the battlefield in our mind. If we want to win this battle, we got to get out of that paradigm. We got to get off the meat and dairy paradigm. This is imperative. This is important to do. So that's why I'm here to speak into this message, because I know this and I have to share it, because if I don't share it, who's going to? I'm taking responsibility for the message that needs to be spoken. Every single person needs to take responsibility, and it's vast mass sleepwalking out there. Everyone has a good heart, but people are unconscious about their actions and what it means. So I'm a critical thinker. I do a lot of research. I'm a fact finder. I like looking for ways to improve my reality. I like looking for the information that proves that humanity's got it wrong. And yes, that is what I find. I find the reasons and the ways that humanity's got it wrong. If you don't like war and poverty and violence, then you might ask yourself, what did we have wrong? Why do we have that experience? You know, what we put in our bodies directly affects how we feel and how we think. If we put slavery and exploitation and death into our body, we are going to think and experience and have the experience of that, which is what we currently have. You get on the raw foods, the raw fruits and vegetables, you get charged up with the biophotons, you feel connected to everything. There's no way, if you're eating raw food, absolutely no way that you could kill animals. It's not possible, because you realize that you have everything you need, that all of the energy, the life force energy in the raw fruits and vegetables gives you everything you need, and all of the animal products is everything you don't need. We don't get what we think we need from animal products. We don't get nutrition. We don't get vitamins and minerals. Everything we think we get from plants, and everything we think it gives us is an illusion. So we need to wake up from our slumber, wake up from the illusions. And I genuinely believe that every single human being deserves the benefit of the doubt. We're all in this together. We're all related. We're only as strong as our weakest link. I am only as strong as the weakest link, the weakest, most despairing, depressed, miserable person on this planet is my soul brethren, because I'm no better and no stronger than they are. But since I have this awareness, I have to speak it, and I have to be a voice for the voiceless. And so I honor you if you're here listening to this at 16 minutes in. I just want to honor you for believing in this message and being interested in what I'm saying. And on some level, I know what I'm saying is true, because it is true. And I wish you the best. We're all in this together. We can do this. I'm here to support the cause and the mission. And if anybody ever needs anything, I'm completely in service to it. So just wanted to say that. If you like this topic of conversation, if you want to hear more, if you want to learn more about these types of conversations, subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up, because we need more people engaged in this conversation and willing to admit that this is a conversation and we need to have this conversation. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Blessings to you and your loved ones, and I will see you in the next one.